Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Reverie Writer. My name is Didi and I'm an aspiring writer working on my debut novel while working as a full-time banker. So as you can see that today's setup is slightly different. That's because my camera wasn't working for the past 2 weeks or so, and hence I decided to do an impromptu video of showcasing you how I arrange my books and how I arrange my bookshelf and how I segregate my books, be it with the genre or what books I've read, I've kept them aside, etc. etc. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this impromptu video and let's get down to it. Alright guys, so this is my bookshelf. I've had this bookshelf for almost 10 years now. It's gonna be a decade and it has gone through a lot of shifting and a lot of changes over the years. I must admit I'm not really proud of the number of books that I've read in comparison to the number of books that I actually have bought over the years. But yeah, I'll just show you how I segregate my books because I have over 100 books in physical copy. This is the bookshelf. It has around 4 racks to it, and on top of it, if you can see, that's actually a really old typewriter that my dad got from Germany, and I was ecstatic when I got that because I was so happy that I actually have a vintage typewriter, but it's actually really hard to type on it. Your fingers practically break. Yeah, it's something that I really cherish regardless. And let me now open my shelf. So as you can see, the top shelf is my most cherished shelf of all. Most of the books over here are part of series which I have grown up reading or absolutely are dear to my heart. So my bookshelf currently has all the books that I have read. Like, I'm done with them, I have read them. And so like I said, yeah, the first shelf is mainly fiction because I am an ardent fantasy fiction lover, and I read all sorts of books, but of course I end up reading more of fantasy fiction than anything else. So of course, needless to say, these are the Harry Potter collections. In a way I grew up reading them, and that's the Hunger Games series. I watched the movies first, not the books, so I have a different perception of the series in my head. And and then we have the Wicked Lovely series. It is one of the most amazing series that I have personally come across, and it has some really good collections. I think it is a series of 5 books. It's written by Melissa Marr, and the first book is actually outside. My friend is reading it right now, so I have kept it out. But yeah, it's if you're anything remotely, like if you love fairies or dark fantasy, this series is something that you should definitely check out. I mean, I really recommend. I'm not sure if you would like it or not, but I really digged it. I have one Murakami book. I love Murakami. I think he's one of my favorite authors as of now, but the reason why I only have one Murakami's book is that by the time I started reading Murakami, I already had the Kindle on me, so most of the Murakamis are on my Kindle. The only the hard copy that I have is of Sputnik Sweetheart, if you can see, and really proud of it. I love Murakami books. Then I've got Khaled Hosseini. I have more of his books, but I don't know where they are. I really don't know. I have read both of these, of course, and again, absolutely love it. Also, for the fact that I was raised in the Middle East, so a lot of the cultural implications of his stories really resonated with me. And of course, these are some things which, you have to read it to experience it. And yeah, oh my god, Hannibal, I don't even know where to begin. It's one of my most favorite characters. If you haven't read it, Hannibal is basically he's a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and he's also a serial killer. Is the original book for it. It again is part of a series, but I don't know where the other 2 copies are, but that's okay, doesn't matter. Then I have Dan Brown. I am also a big fan of Dan Brown. I don't necessarily believe everything that he has to say in his books. I treat it as purely fiction, so I'm okay with that. But of course, the stories are really interesting. And last but not the least, Paulo Coelho. I really can't even explain how important Coelho's work is for my, like, has been in my life, and I have every single book of his. I am currently reading one of his latest books called Hippie, which I think got released around 2018, 2019. I picked it up when I was traveling to Bombay, and I'm yet to complete it, so that's not part of the collection yet. And coming down to the second shelf, I have I really did not understand how I would go about segregating them. So what I did was all my childhood books, like these are some hardbound copies that I had, like I practically grew up reading them. They have stories like Treasure Island, Tom Sawyer, and Black Beauty. I still have my handy dandy Panchatantra book and one hardbound copy of Sleepy Time Stories and Rhymes. I don't know, I think it's just memory, it's just nostalgia, so I have decided to keep them with me. I have the Chicken Soup series. I honestly could not read more than 2 books of the Chicken Soup because I think it's too hard. I think it really hits you in a place where you're not ready for. I mean, I really don't know. I couldn't read more than 2 books of it. This happens to be my first ever novel that I ever had. It is really worn down because it has gone through a lot. It went through an entire fire, and it's really worn down. And this is it. This is the Great Illustrated Classics, A Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne. It was my first ever novel, and I think this is the book that really got me into reading, because I enjoyed it so much that I practically finished it in just one night. Like the day we purchased it, I went back home, I read the whole thing. Like I sat up all night and read the whole thing. I think that is what really started my passion for reading novels. Right next to it we have Roots, and this was a birthday gift. I think I got it for my 20th birthday. One of my Dramsock friends had gifted this to me, and initially I found it very boring, but as I got down to the story, I think it's very interesting. If you read something like this, it really gives you a big perspective on, the struggles of so many people out there and how racial discrimination and even, colorism takes place. It's some things which is so rooted. So you should definitely check out Roots if you're anywhere remotely into that kind of reading. And the rest of them these are all thriller / mystery novels. I'm sure you can see a lot of Sidney Sheldon's, a bit of Jeffrey Archer, and a bit of Agatha Christie. I have had more books of them, but I really don't know where they are at this point, so that's okay. But yes, definitely into mystery books as well. So all of these mystery books are over here. So this is my second shelf. Coming down to my third shelf, I basically have these 4 boxes. They have all my birthday gifts and memorabilias. That's what you say? So this entire stack is basically my journal stack. I do a lot of journaling. I'm not as frequent as I would like to be, but I have a lot of journals written over the years, and this is a good stack. So I have a lot of privacy in my room, so I am okay to keep them like out in the open. Nobody really comes to my room and checks them out. So yeah, I have kept them over there. And these are just some hardbound books. There are 2 books of Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars fan. And then there's 1 book on ancient Rome, and then there are a couple of maps. I really love maps. And the last shelf, which is the most boring shelf, has my study material. These are basically materials that I've needed to study for my bank exams or for other exams that I keep preparing for. And I hate them. I really don't enjoy studying anything related to banking, so that's why I've just kept them in the 4th shelf. So that's my bookshelf. These are the books that I have read and have made peace with. And now coming to the interesting part, which is the books which I am yet to read. Earlier on, all these books were also in the bookshelf, but I figured that if I just kept them inside, I would never end up reading them, to be honest. So what I did was I had this space cleared out, and then I just stacked all of these books which I'm yet to read or / complete, and I've just tagged them according to the genres. Like for instance, this particular pillar is fiction and poetry and a lot of Rabindranath Tagore, although I'm not his biggest fan, to be honest, but okay, I still have to read the book because I have it. the front part is 3 books of Stephen King. I've never read a single Stephen King. Yes, I haven't. And yeah, that sucks, but that's okay. I'm at some point gonna start reading it. And this is a really interesting shelf. It has Shantaram. I'm halfway through Shantaram, but I think the book is just too huge for my taste, and I have to complete it because I have a thing that if I've started a book once, I really have to finish it. And this is a book that I got from Daryaganj a couple of years ago, and it's basically a Paulo Coelho book which just says inspirations. I don't know if he has personally written all of these or whether he's just collected a set of stories and poems for his liking, but because it's a second-hand book that I got from Daryaganj, it has a really cute note that is in it, and I'm not even sure how old this book is, but this is the condition I got it in, and I find it very interesting. It's worn down and everything, but I think that's the charm of hardbound books because they're so interesting, and over the years they age, the pages age, and it's just a beautiful book. I'm yet to read it, but I'm sure I'm gonna take my time with it because I'm sure it's gonna be really interesting. Then I have Kafka. I am a huge Franz Kafka fan, and I'm yet to finish this book. I have read most of his stories, but they were all in bits and pieces. But this book is like a proper collection of all his work, so I wanted to do an entire binge on it, and so that's still in the pending list. And of course I have Arabian Nights. Again, haven't read all the stories, but have read excerpts of it, so gotta finish it off like at some point. This is Ian Rankin. Haven't read it. I have no idea what they're about, so I'm not gonna comment on it yet. I will give you a review if you're remotely interested once I've finished reading it. Although look at the size of these books. Like, this is my hand and it's almost like 2-3 inches. I have no idea how I'm ever gonna complete it, to be honest. Then we have Game of Thrones. I'm not sure if I want to read Game of Thrones at this point, but I bought the set because I was very excited for it, and at some point in my life I wish to finish it off, but I don't know when I'm gonna start and I don't know when I'm gonna finish. This entire section is basically non-fiction. I wasn't the biggest fan of non-fiction books, but I figured that some of them are very interesting, like Unthinkable or Moonwalking with Einstein. These are things that have really interested me. It has a lot to do with human mind and psychology and stuff like that. Behind them I have fantasy fiction novels which I'm yet to finish, things like Artemis Fall. I don't know why this is here. This is not supposed to be here, but okay. Wicked, Merlin, and Charles Dickens. I hate Charles Dickens, but since I have one of his books, I have to finish it off. But yeah, if you want a review of any of these books, you let me know. You can comment down below and I can give you a review of them. And in the last section, I have a lot of books, but most of them are just fiction books. There's of course a Kafka, The Trial, but I've read that. It's just that I want to keep it along with this once both of them are done. And David Lloyd's Therapy is a very interesting book. I've read half of it. I was very impressed, but it's just that with my schedule and everything, I couldn't finish it. But yeah, it's a really interesting book. So if you're anywhere remotely into dark humor or dry humor, this book is something you should definitely check out. Like, yeah, David Lloyd's Therapy, really cynical, extremely witty, and I really love it. I personally love it. I'm gonna finish this off. So yeah, that's my collection of all the books that I'm yet to read, yet to finish, and all the books that I have finished already. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if you want me to review any of the books or anything else that you want to comment, about how I've arranged my books, how you would like me to arrange these books, anything. And I'll see you in the next video.